teach listening and speaking here at TIE Zhuang.
And how many hours a week do students at TIE go to school for?
Well, I guess it depends on how you define going to school. Because some students just come in at 7:45 and they leave at 5:15, they go home, they do their thing, with a pause between noon and 2 o'clock. But others that live further away, many of them live on campus, so at 5:15 they have until 7 o'clock usually to go eat, and then they're staying in class with a Chinese teacher supervising them until 10 p.m. and then they essentially go home and that's it, and wake up and do it again.
And what does TIE do to ensure the mental health of their students?
The international department where I am, they give the students a questionnaire and they ask them questions and maybe interview them in order to gauge their feelings, all that kind of thing. I keep a lookout for certain things because I know that mental health in students in China is a bit of an issue due to the workload and the pressure and the stress. And it's not just the workload from the school, it's also the parents and the family members do give them a lot of pressure. So I keep an eye out for certain things. I have had students say things to me in the past which have been slightly concerning, and then I've spoke to them, for 5 to 10 minutes, just a discussion. Then I've also spoke to their tutor.
Actions taken to ensure the mental health of students at TIE?
Yes, I have. For example, they do exercises to make sure that they stay energized and so that they don't, get really tired in class. And I think we could benefit from that in the US. They do eye exercises to make sure that they don't get, their eyes don't get too stressed. They take a couple laps around the track to make sure that they don't get so tired. But other than that, not really anything else.
And have you seen any precautions taken to ensure mental health?
Well, one day we have seen the suicide nets in this building, so that because suicide is actually very common here, one of the students had said, and it's not a very odd thing like it is in the States. And they also have bars on the windows so that they can't jump off, and it's more of precautions.
And what does TIE do to ensure the mental health of their students?
Well, I can't say I know of any program that TIE has. I know they have a head teacher who will often deal with any problems they have, who will communicate with their parents or with them, kind of like a liaison, I guess. But as far as an official program for mental health, I don't think they have.
Are you aware of any student getting help as far as medications or going to therapy?
I'm not aware of any of that. I don't think any of our students are on medication or are kind of having some kind of therapy, speaking to a psychologist, and I think that may be a cultural thing because in China, compared to the West, it's kind of a little bit behind when it comes to their attitudes towards mental health. If you have a child with a mental health issue, that could cause the parents to lose face.
Have you seen any suicides since you've gotten here?
Have I seen any suicides? I've never seen any suicides. I've heard of suicides, especially leading up towards the Gaokao. You hear about that a lot, and I've heard about it happening at schools around within the local area where very sad students have jumped off the top of a 30-floor apartment block. That's not exactly unheard of, but it's not exactly an everyday occurrence either.
What is TIE compared to schools in the US in providing a safe learning environment to ensure the mental health of students?
Well, the US really, I believe that we address it more, in a caring and sensitive way, more than here in China. I think in China they don't really address it at all. I don't think they believe it's that important. They don't think of it as something that could affect, their daily life and their education. They just care more about, them coming to school and getting their work done more than they care about their mental health.
What have you seen around the school that might harm a student's mental health?
They post up their test results and stuff like in front of the class or even like in front of the school to see their ranking. So like I think it will make them like feel sad or upset or even nervous to like if they get a low grade or a grade that's not good enough.
Once a week, the whole school gathers for a 15 to 20-minute flag raising ceremony. After the flags have been raised, the students who have done poorly have their names called out and they are reprimanded in front of the whole school and their class, while the students who performed well receive certificates.
Which lets
Is your student educated on the issues of mental health and maintaining a positive body image?
Not really. Well, for the people that I've talked to, they don't really recognize it. Lucia said, you know, people can be sad, but she doesn't even really know what depression is. And I think a lot of kids the same here. They don't recognize depression or mental health issues like that. Like I just told her what ADHD was.
Is your student educated on issues of mental health and maintaining a positive body image?
Not that I have heard of, no. I don't think that, again, I don't think they are very concerned about it. I don't think they believe it's that big of a deal like we do in the States, so no.
And so you've never learned about mental illness in China?
No.
So in any of your classes?
No.
Okay. So do you learn a lot about that in school?
No. Our teacher just tell us,
Mathematics, Chinese,
you should hard working and at the same time you should have a good rest. But that is impossible. It's impossible. I think.
Does your teacher teach you about that?
No.
Have you ever had a class about that?
We just heard about this word on the internet or other.
Well, what do you think depression is? Can you describe it?
Yeah, to be honest, in our school there's no mental illness because if you can get good grades, you can get into our high school, our middle school, and so a lot of people just like normal people, so they won't feel the depression. So something depression, I won't talk with them and I will go away. I'm afraid of them because they have something wrong with their mental,
Students speak badly about their body, and how does this affect their daily life?
Well, Lucy does not. She just says, she eats a bunch and she's like, well, I just eat a lot and I still stay skinny. But she definitely has friends who are very insecure about their bodies. I've had people come up to me and say, I'm so chubby and, how do you exercise? Like, how do you, maintain a small weight? And really it's just, they have a fine body, they're very skinny, they're healthy, but they still have issues with their body. A bunch of people try, skin whitening, or they just try to perfect their bodies.
And have your students' parents helped or worsened your students' mental health?
I think, Lucy has a pretty good mental health, but I think her mom probably worsens it because, she'll buy her these weird glasses to give you eye creases, and then she also gives her this thing to make her nose smaller. And I remember her mom gave her those glasses to give her the creases, and I saw Lucy was accepted it, but she also looked a little bit kind of sad that she was given those glasses, almost disappointed that her mom thought she needed it.
I know in China there's a sort of a thing trending now, or at least that was trending a few months ago, called the A4 waist. It's like a piece of paper and girls would post pictures on.
And have you ever heard your student or any other students besides yours talk badly about their body? And how does this affect their daily life?
My student does call herself chubby, even though she's perfectly normal. They comment a lot on their height. They believe that they're all too short, and that I've heard some of the students say that they're never gonna find a man. They're never gonna have true love because of the way they look. And I know there was another girl who that I have met, and she was like completely. She hated how she looks, like not just her height and weight, but she also hated like her hair and her eyes and just everything about her. And she adored us Americans. Like she loved talking about the way we looked because I guess she said she was envious.
Have your students' parents helped or worsened your students' mental health?
I believe that, the mother, I believe one time Shelly said that, she said that she looked like her father, he was ugly and bad, and she wasn't as attractive as the other girls, so I do believe that the mother kind of worsened her self-esteem a bit. That's why Shelly, she doesn't believe that she's very beautiful at all.
Does your student think that she needs to lose weight?
Yeah, pretty much every day she says that she's fat.
Does she take any active steps too?
She does the T25 workout every single day.
The biggest problem with tackling the mental health stigma in China is that the issue is deeply rooted within the culture, and the belief that saving face should come before all else. The best way to combat the stigma while respecting culture would be education. The Chinese Mental Health Association is a voluntary organization set up to promote mental health education and to raise awareness through the media. They also provide housing, counseling, and health services to the mentally ill.